I'm Jess.
And I'm Jen. We're just two run-of-the-mill casting directors looking to have a little fun while tearing down the curtain on casting, the process, and how the sausage gets made.
So many misconceptions have come from outside sources, so we're here to clear the air and make sure everyone gets a full picture of all that goes into casting your favorite TV shows and films. All the while, we'll be drinking some amazing cocktails and spilling the tea on some of the most outrageous stories we've come across in our careers.
Maybe we'll even bring on a few exciting guests along the way.
Cheers!
Cheers. Good afternoon.
Good evening.
Welcome back to Tipsy Casting for what is going to be another fun episode with manager extraordinaire Brandon Bisig.
Brandon grew up in Southwest Michigan and went on to study finance and statistics at Miami University of Ohio. Post-graduation, he went on to a career in consulting, but that was short-lived as he decided to pursue his passion in film and television. After moving to New York City, Brandon worked odd jobs in a number of different sectors of the industry before working for Fred Zollo and Barbara Broccoli.
While working for Fred and Barbara, he met manager Russ Lyster, which sparked his interest in management and inspired him to move to Los Angeles, where he started as an assistant and worked his way up at Thruline Entertainment. After 12 years with Thruline, he took the leap and started Canopy Media Partners with Chris Dennis and Noah Rothman, where he manages some of the most amazing talent out there.
Special shout out to his assistant Chandler, who is an avid listener to the podcast and is training under one of the best. Now grab a cocktail
Or a mocktail.
and enjoy.
Hello, Brandon. Welcome to Tipsy
Hey.
Casting. How are you?
How are you? I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, good. What are we drinking today?
We're drinking a little Casamigos.
Ooh, and some ice, I see. I
Little
love
ice.
that. It's the only one I can tolerate on its own without gagging.
It's really smooth, and
Yeah.
I think since we're recording on the early side, it will not make me tired.
Yeah.
I was drinking like bourbon or something.
Just take a nap.
Yeah.
I've done that in the office before. It's frowned upon.
Jess, what are you drinking?
I was lazy today and went for this West Peak Sparkling Spirit, a Paloma. Little product placement for you.
What is a Paloma? I don't even know what that is.
It's like I think it's tequila or maybe vodka. I'm not entirely sure. I forget. With a grapefruit sort of mixer type thing. I think vodka? I don't know. Anyways, it's delightful and
think-
refreshing.
I think it's a Paloma with tequila, and it's a
Is it?
Greyhound with vodka.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Oh,
They changed the name.
interesting. Love it.
A man who knows his beverages. It's perfect.
A little too
Hey,
much.
if I could say one thing about Brandon, he's a good drinking buddy. I'm back on my red wine train tonight.
What are you drinking?
A Chianti.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been a day. It's been a day.
Have you
And a
found
night.
any like local brands that you like? Because I always find it difficult. when
Like
I'm
brands
overseas.
of
Like,
wine?
yeah, because it's not the same. Like we don't have the same distributors.
Yeah. So pretty much I have, if I get my Côte de Rhône, which I love, there's a French one here that's really fab that I'm big fan of. And then the Chianti one, I was like, as long as it comes from Italy, I feel like you're okay. And I don't know why I got a Chianti. I don't usually, but it was calling my name. And then I also like pretty labels. So like if the label catches me, I'm like, oh, okay, I'll give that a shot. But no, it is different. I get that, but I don't know. I just try if I get what's Malbec, I always do an Argentinian one. If I do a Sauv
Mhm.
Blanc, I always get it from New Zealand. Like I just try to like pick and choose wisely. But there's been some really bad rosés, I'm not gonna lie, that I dumped the bottle.
There's too many rosés now.
Has anyone tried the whole orange wine?
Yes, love it.
Oh yeah.
You do? Okay. I'm always like, do I want to take the plunge and try it? But I still haven't tried it.
It's very good. A lot of it comes out of Eastern Europe,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know. It's like it's a good alternative to a rosé if it's like a little too if rosés are a little too sweet.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Okay. It's a little
it's
bit dry.
drier. It's like that perfect, not sweet rosé or Sauv Blanc if you want something a bit more just like smooth.
All right. Well, maybe next episode I'll be drinking that.
You go to Horses in LA, they have a really good orange selection there.
Okay.
What is Horses? I've never heard of this.
It's a restaurant.
Is it new?
What's
It's like 3 or 4 years old now, but it's where the old Coach and Horses was on Sunset.
Oh,
okay.
I was
And
never
they
cool enough for
still-
that, I guess.
Well, they like kept sort of the vibe in the interior, but then do a really upscale. Like it's consistently guests like favorite restaurant to go to in LA.
Mm.
Hmm.
Is
And
it
it's sort of like
celebrity hotspot?
I have seen a celebrity or two there.
Who? Tell us.
I actually saw Beyonce and Jay-Z there once.
What? You heard it here first, people.
Horses.
But it's very good, very like smart bartenders and staff, and although like the old Somme left and is at the chateau now,
Mm,
but they still have a great wine selection.
yeah. Oh,
Talking about the
amazing.
very important things, right?
Very true.
Oh, it cracks me up. Oh, amazing. All right, Brandon. So we like to start with finding out how you got into this wonderful industry of ours that we are all crazy enough to be in.
So I grew up in Michigan, which like as far away from the entertainment industry as I think you can possibly grow up in the US. And I acted like twice in fifth grade and knew it wasn't for me. And then through the rest of my sort of high school career, I was often the guy who's like my friends would start a band and I'd be like, I'll manage you guys. Like I don't want to be in the band. I don't want to be on stage. But never thought there was like a real career path. And then when I graduated high school, I really wanted to go to Pepperdine or USC, and my parents were like, "No, you're not going to California." So we settled. I ended up going to Miami of Ohio and getting a finance degree. And I actually went into like a real job. I was a consultant right after college. So I was consulting, hated it, like literally was hospitalized once because I was for exhaustion, just like
Wow.
completely burnt out within 7 months. And so I made the decision to quit and move to New York. And I kind of chased a girl to New York, but also just wanted to live in a bigger city and experience something else. And so I was there and I was like working odd jobs and bartending and doing whatever to get by. And I responded to a Craigslist ad for an assistant to a producer. And I was like, what is this? This is shady, but I'm going to go see what this is all about. And it ended up being for Fred Zollo and Barbara Broccoli.
Wow.
And so, yeah.
Craigslist, really?
Craigslist. This was 2002. Like,
Yeah.
Craigslist was still kind of a real thing.
Yeah.
Right.
It hadn't like
Shady.
evolved yet.
Yeah.
But no, I remember even being like, this is a weird spot for like a legit producer to be hosting.
Yeah.
But then when I like went to work with them, I realized that Fred and Vincent, who were mainly there, like just didn't like breakdowns was just becoming electronic and all this stuff, and they like didn't know how to do it. They like didn't. It was like so. I was like, okay, it makes sense that they posted on Craigslist because they probably didn't realize there's like other places
Reputable
to post a job
places.
posting.
Yeah.
And I was surprised they hired me. Like I had no experience. But Barbara left like the next day or the day after to start Casino Royale. And so I worked during that whole period. And then I can tell you guys, but this is a story I don't usually. I was really close to going to work for the Weinsteins. Like had the job offer.
Wow.
And someone took me out to drinks and told me, don't do it. Like you're gonna hate working for them. And she was like, move to LA and get into representation. Like all these actors really like you. So like get into representation. So I called my dad. I rented a car, packed it with whatever I could get in. I drove to LA. Never been here before.
Wow.
Yeah, it was I was one of the people who got tricked into thinking found a Craigslist roommate. They were like, this is in Los Angeles. It was Van Nuys. It's not Los Angeles. So I was living like, an hour outside of the city. But a friend introduced me to Meg Lieberman, who at the time was independent and later went to run CBS Casting. And Meg and I just like hung out for 45 minutes, and then she was like, "I really like you. I'm going to help set up some job interviews for you." And
Oh,
so got me in at the agencies, management companies, and it was right before the writer's strike in 2007. And so when I started getting offers, I said, if you will guarantee my job through the strike, I'll take your offer. And Thruline Entertainment guaranteed my job, and I was like, okay. So I went there and started as an assistant. And it was
wow.
just,
That was smart. I
I
feel like
was,
that's your finance background coming in to like
Yeah.
protect yourself.
well, I think that's a lot of what people liked was like, I had a real business background. I like understood how to be professional and how to deal with, different personalities.
Mm.
Because that's what, I mean, a lot of my job was keeping the client happy when I was a consultant. So it worked out. Like I had two really great bosses, Marco Moo and Steve Kavovit. And I don't know, it was like not too long after I started there, Meg called me and was like, I have this guy I just put in the Pacific and like you should represent him. And I was kind of like, I'm an assistant. But everyone was like, yeah, do it. Like, why is Meg Lieberman offering you clients? How do you know her that well? And I was like, I don't know, like we just get along. So that was, I mean, she gave me my first client ever, and I just kind of went from there.
Who was that?
His name's Ben Essler. He's a
Yeah.
brilliant actor.
Yeah.
Like he was on Hell on Wheels, and but one thing I realized like very early on is I did not know enough to be a manager yet. So we had parted ways in a way that was like very amicable. I was very happy to see him do well, but it was sort of the sense of like, oh, I'm a baby and like don't know what a test deal looks like yet. And it was, I didn't want to be the guy who put anybody in like a bad situation because of my lack of knowledge.
Mm.
Yeah.
So I was like, go somewhere else, like be represented by somebody who knows what they're doing while I still figure my stuff out.
Wow.
That's
So,
amazing.
yeah,
We're kind of talking about that with Christy Fiorelli Ellington, where we're
Mhm.
like, I think people now in the industry don't understand how good that assistant experience is. That is so many people now are just trying to fake it till you make it, and they just end up fucking everything up in the long run. That it's just
Yeah.
not a thing I don't know why it's not common sense to assistants
yeah.
these days. They just want to jump the line.
Yeah. I think it's
And I
also
think
like the
that's,
the environment that they come up in, depending, there's sort of a lack of self-awareness and or a willingness to admit it. And they just, rather than like acknowledging and sometimes apologizing for messing something up in some way, they just double down. And that part I will never understand.
I think a lot of assistants today they're getting screwed over in a way of the pandemic and the strike and like not working from an office and not being around people all the time.
Mhm.
But I've always come from a place of like if I screw something up, I admit to it and I have the solution worked out. Like this is what I'm going to do to fix it. And that's how I've always liked my assistants to be. But I think you're right. Like a lot of people come at it as like, oh, I didn't do that. Like
Mhm.
just denying it and gaslighting you uh, into believing they didn't make a mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how long did it take you to feel comfortable then from like starting the assistant to then making that, or was it gradual?
It was really gradual. Like I think the first client I took on after that, like I'd actually been promoted to a partner's desk and he had met with somebody and I was interested in them already because I was familiar with their work. And he was like, I don't think I'm going to do it. And I was like, can I do it? He was like, sure. So started working with this actor and like it was easy because like he had an agent. It wasn't just somebody who was brand new and like didn't know anyone here. So, and like that's probably where I learned the most is from the agents I worked with coming up, is especially the ones that don't make you feel dumb for asking questions, because none of us know everything. Like we all are still learning every day, and new situations arise every day that we've never dealt with before. And you're like, okay, how do I best handle this?
Yeah.
And having a big network of people to call and ask for advice is the best thing. So like it was finding mentorship through agents or other managers that I really admired and learned from. And then I started to get the confidence to be like, okay. And I remember like I signed the first client that people were like, like I found and people were impressed. And you're like, okay, like that might have just been pure luck, or that might have been I actually know what I'm doing. And I think you always doubt yourself in that. And then once you do it like a couple times, you're like, okay, maybe I am okay at this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you kind of like work your way there.
Is that something like now as an long established manager, like is that something that's important to you to pay it forward also, just in terms of building that community and mentorship?
Oh yeah. I mean, I always try and make myself available to not just the assistants within our office, but whenever we sign someone at an agency,
Mhm.
I take the team's assistants out for drinks and like get to know them as well. It's truly
That's
the
cool.
assistants who are like the information source.
Yeah.
They're the gatherers and the ones that like know everything that's happening. So you befriend them because they're the ones who are like, oh, I can tell you what's going on here. I can send you the script. Where I
Yeah.
think as smarter adults, when we know something's like confidential or not to be sent, we're not going to risk it. But the assistants will be like, oh yeah, you took me to drinks that one time.
I
Here
know,
you
yeah.
go. So and I think it's really important to like, I always wanted an assistant who wanted to be a manager so I could like teach and mentor. And I finally found one and it's like great because I don't know, you're like leaving your legacy in the business as well.
Hmm.
So I think it's important.
That's great.
Do you guys agree? Like, when you hire associates and assistants?
Yeah, I mean, I've had both where I had a string of really bad assistants for a while. I'm not gonna lie. Like it just was like they didn't want to learn, or I dealt with one that just was like, I'm doing it my way. And I was like, but we have like studio guidelines we have to follow. And she would not change. And it just was miserable to deal with. And because I was just doing all her work then for her at the end of the day. And then I got like again, it was like one, and then the next one was like overconfident to the point where she just wouldn't even do anything because she was like, I'm too good to to be typing up lists, and I'm just here to give my opinion. And I'm like, well, we still have paperwork to do.
Where do you
So
find these people?
well, this was, to be fair, this was when I was an associate. And so
And
I
they were the
wasn't really,
assistants.
yeah, and I
Yeah.
wasn't really the one hiring them. And then like one who's actually doing quite well now, which I followed her career, but she was just so timid. It was so hard to get her to even like answer the phones because she was scared of agents. And
Yeah.
it was, and I just was like, I don't have time for this. Like, I want to help you, but like, you're making this
Yeah.
really hard. And then my last one that I didn't care for as much just was very entitled and just thought she would literally just like bring in actors to our sessions. And I'm like,
Oh.
who is this?
Trying to think
Yeah.
if I know who you're talking about.
What's that?
I'm trying to think of if I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, you do know one of them for sure.
I do too. No, I think it's like, I think we're sort of in a really tough position in this moment of casting is because for the last 4 years, there's been no in-office experience. And so I think especially for the assistants coming into the field now, the idea if we don't return back to the room, there are going to be no equipped assistant to associate transitions because they're not going to know how to be casting directors. And I used to work for Alyssa Weisberg, and Alyssa always used to tell me the difference between the difference between an associate and a casting director is their contacts. The casting director can get the jobs, but the associate has to be able to do the job just the same. And like, I'm really nervous for this generation because I don't know that they're going to have the wherewithal to do that and like the experience to learn by osmosis and how to direct an actor and how to communicate. Like it's a different language entirely. I learned that in the room on the job from April and Alyssa. So it was we talked about this a bit with Jenny Ju that like we don't feel like there's an incentive for casting assistants to want to be casting assistants right now because there's no future at this moment, which really is a bit of a reckoning, you know. But for me, like when I got into this industry, someone was willing to teach me off the books. Like I went evenings and weekends, and I sat in short film sessions and commercial sessions. I did all of that stuff because I knew nothing and wanted to learn everything. But I still was learning on the job, every single job. And so for me, it's been really important that, like, I mean, I've trained so many assistants who are now casting directors or associates, because it's like you have to pay it forward. If someone took that time and energy to do that for me, the cycle has to keep going for sure.
Well, yeah, you grew up with two great mentors.
Yeah.
Like April and Alyssa are both amazing. But then
Yeah, very
there's
lucky.
some offices that are like never going to promote or never going to like, so it can be difficult. And I think you're right with the in-office experience. A lot of people just aren't getting the education. They're not like our assistants, we're getting to be on phone calls and
Yeah.
kind of learn what we do when we talk about contracts and things like that. In the same way that they're not getting to watch your sessions.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which self-taping, I'm very curious your guys' thoughts because I have opinions.
We have a lot of them as well.
I think, I mean, look, it's really beneficial for some actors, but how do you guys feel about like self-tape versus actually getting somebody's personality in the room? Because I feel like a lot of actors shine in the room once you get to know them and see how they are, and then some actors really who aren't as or who might be nervous going into the room like do much better on self-tapes. But I think like the all self-tape situation has changed a lot of
Yeah.
and even like recastings and things because chemistry reads, you can't really get chemistry over Zoom.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it's really interesting because one thing I will say, I kind of disagree with you in the fact that like the nervous ones want to self-tape. I think those are the ones that should be coming in person because they're the ones who need the experience of being told what to do and getting past those nerves. Where I'm like, I'm fine with self-tapes for the people who have been working actors and again, they've kind of established themselves. But I totally agree. I think I just miss being in the room with actors, but I've kind of taken it upon myself to do that many more generals with actors just so you can get to know them. So that hopefully when you get a tape from them, you're like, okay, I know base foundation of who they are as a person. Let's see what they do on screen and see if we can kind of somehow get there. But I think it's huge detriment to actors to not go into the room. But I mean, we were talking about this during the strike on the podcast is that even some people who are being offered to go into the room, they wouldn't do it. And it's like, or if you're being offered these, so we're like, well, what's the point of you fighting for it if you're not going to take advantage of it? But I also think the UK is better. I mean, over here, I've said this many times. I think a lot of people are going back to in person over here in general, more so than the States. So I get the advantage of that as well.
Yeah, I think that it's like we all have the understanding that getting the job and doing the job are two different skill sets. But I feel like to acknowledge that different people thrive in different environments. And so again, I'm with Jen that I want to be back in the room. I want to be able to the immediacy of a redirect and not having to, let's retape, let's do this whole thing. And like that's our job, to mine the performance, to help the actors get there, and not just to be media managers and watching a bajillion tapes, because I do think that they're, aside from getting somebody's essence and energy and like also the experience of the collaboration is so vital for our process, to know who we're putting on set, if they're going to be difficult, if they'll take the adjustment. Like those are all like tangible things for us that when we do send them to producers, that information is baked into what we're sending. So the self-tape thing is, it sucks in some ways. It's great in others, of like introducing yourself to actors that maybe aren't right, but you at least had a chance to see what they're doing. And so I think that it has its pros and cons. I definitely think that we should be full force back in a room and allow actors to have the option to self-tape, which is exactly what was happening before COVID. It was the plan B. And there were so many actors who came in the room, didn't knock it out of the park, and then suddenly I get a self-tape from them 2 days later because they wanted another crack at it. And they did amazing. So I think it's like there's always got to be a variation of the sort of procedure, you know. It's a living and breathing process depending on what we're working on. And so I think it can't be an all or nothing in either direction.
I think
Yeah.
like 90% of actors probably want to go back to the room, honestly, but you have the 10% that are the loudest and all, it's just how nature works that I don't know. But
Yeah.
also, I think LA has the problem of none of the casting directors really live in LA too much anymore. So
Well, that's what I was just going to say is like, what's the holdup then to going back in the room, right? Like, is it that budgets aren't affording for offices anymore, that people don't live in LA anymore? Like,
well, it's
what's
that, and then it's our favorite topic is we have these massive, and I'll talk about it because it really doesn't affect me anymore, but we have these top like 5, 10 casting directors who are hoarding all the projects. And so like I can't be in 20 sessions a day plus answering my emails and taking phone calls. So they are having their assistants filter their tapes. So they're able to take on I was talking to a manager a week ago in LA, and she was like, well, I won't say whose office, but she was like, this guy over here has 13 projects going right now. No one casting director can do
Yeah.
13 projects in the room.
So
And
they don't want to go
actually,
back. That's why.
so I think they're fine not taking the office hit, and they can use that as an excuse whenever they get asked, like, well, we're not getting the office anymore. We're not getting this. But the reality is if they're going to make 100 grand per project and you can do like, you're going to be a multimillionaire in a couple years, with the amount of money they get paid. So
Yeah. But
that's my little rant on the subject.
yeah, but I think if they're not going to, but if those grouping of casting directors, if they went to the studios and networks and, cable, whatever, like, and said, we need an office, they would give it to them versus something that I had worked on. I asked for an office and they shut me down, and it was a big project. So I think they are definitely trying to cut, but I think if the right people ask, they would give. That's yeah.
That's what you're saying?
Okay,
Yeah.
so you became a manager at Thruline. Back to your
Yeah.
story.
We took a left turn.
Back to
Bringing it
Thruline.
back, bringing it back. So then you decided to start, I believe it was during the pandemic, right? You started your own company with a partner, correct?
Yeah. So, it was at Throughline for 12 years and like very grateful to everyone there. And I couldn't have kind of asked for better partners in the company to like make you feel capable and like give you the resources to grow. But I think at the end, I don't know, the pandemic gave us all a lot of time to think about like what we really want to do. And I kind of hit a place of feeling very just stagnant and needing to be like, okay, I need to do something to re-energize myself in this career and everything. And so I took some meetings and a friend was like, Chris Dennis, like you should sit down with him. They're building something new. And I was like, okay. And at first I was just kind of like, no, never gonna happen during a pandemic. But I sat with Chris and we reconnected and everything he was saying was sort of how I was feeling and what I was thinking. And then I met Noah, who's our other partner, and him and I were just like instantly buddies. And he's one of my closest friends now, but it just kind of felt right. And so I joined Canopy, and we really, I think, have built something culturally that's different than what a lot of people are doing. And we went from the three of us to now there's 8 managers total. And
Wow.
we have an office in New York, and then we have what we like to call our Mexico City office with Danny Sherman down there, who's doing like a really cool lit thing in Latin America. So it's, I don't know, it was this very small thing that became a fairly big thing over the course of 2 years.
Wow.
And it's definitely a different experience. And then hitting the strike was like having to worry about a company and the employees and not just your clients was a different experience. But it's something I want to trade. Like it did exactly what I needed to do. I'm happy to be back in the office every day. And that's kind of what I needed. I feel like everyone gets stagnant in their careers at some point, or sometimes we even do it, yearly, where you just feel kind of like in a slump. So it's like you got to figure out how to make it exciting again.
Yeah. That's
So
A
what's
lot of
this
times it's like,
cultural difference though? Can you like what's the main, I guess, vibe that's so different than other places?
I think the biggest thing is everyone that works here I've known for like, I mean, minus our like assistants who are newer.
yeah.
All of the managers here, with the exception of Noah, I've known for 6+ years. We've
Wow.
been friends, we've grown up together in the business, whether we work together or not, we're aware of each other and would have
Mhm.
drinks. And so genuinely everyone here likes each other and we
That's
share
very rare.
information and we have a common
Yeah.
goal. It is very rare. It's very rare. Like, and that was part of my thinking was, do I want to go to a big company and have personality conflicts that I'm not aware of? Like,
Mm.
they're gonna happen. You're not gonna like everybody you work with. And I was like, or can I go somewhere where I have a bit more control over that because I know who my colleagues are already, and we're gonna make decisions together as to like who's joining us,
Mm.
Mhm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah. Sounds lovely,
Um,
actually.
I think we're also like, and maybe it's honeymoon phase, but like everyone's genuinely excited for everyone else's success, which you don't experience at every company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I
That,
actually had a
yeah.
colleague of mine kill a meeting because she didn't understand why I was getting it.
Wait,
That's
what?
And
horrible.
yeah, it was
That's
bad.
insane.
And I was like a baby manager at the time, and I managed to score what I think would have been a very big meeting. And partly with the help of one of our other clients who I was at Sundance with. And he was like, "Oh, she's looking like you should meet Brandon." And it was all a go. And then this colleague of mine called her agents and was like, "He's just a junior, he's just starting out, but he shouldn't be getting a meeting." And yeah, it was not great.
Wow. That's horrible.
Yeah.
That's insane.
It sucked. And it was somebody I like really respected
Hmm.
and was just kind of like, oh, okay, this can get dirty internally.
Yeah. Wow. That's awful. So speaking of which,
Oh yeah.
when you are looking for new clients, I don't know sort of how, I mean, it has felt like you are open to established but also developmental and sort of nurturing and curating their careers. What is important for you in that relationship when you're seeking those actors?
Yeah.
Um, and where and how and all of those wonderful questions.
So I do a lot of work out of the UK, which is literally just stems from my early love of everything British TV wise and film wise. I think Jen knows this, but like I planned my first British trip, like my first trip to the UK around the release of The Inbetweeners
Yeah, I
in
do.
theaters, so I could see it there.
I love
And then I planned when Inbetweeners 2 came out, I was like, gotta go to London, guys. But it was just watching that programming, and as a young manager, no one else at our company was doing that business or was calling the UK. So I just started cold calling people until they started to take me seriously. And it took years to like cultivate relationships in the UK,
And is this
but
with
it was
agencies?
with
Yeah.
agencies. Which is kind of the point. Like it's different culturally. Like in the US, it feels very like you trade. You're like, oh, I'll give you this client, you're gonna give me a client down the road, sort of thing. Where in the UK, it's more like we like you and we want to be in business with you. And when the right client comes along, we'll set you up to meet them.
Mhm.
So it's a lot of just going, doing lunches, drinks, coffees. And luckily I've made strong relationships there, and that's been a lot of my client list over the years. And then at the same time, I do a lot with Canada. And I think the less so now that everything's becoming international, but like it used to be somebody could work in the UK and no one in the US would ever see it. So
Mhm.
like you get these actors who had on-set experience, whether it was a good show or not, but they had experience, and then casting directors here would take them a bit more seriously, or see like a resume and be like, oh, they're not just brand new. Where I still do sign um sort of out of the drama schools in the US sometimes, or like I found a kid on Instagram the other day that I was like, do you want to act? And he was like, yeah. And he booked his first audition.
Wow.
Like, but it all boils down to a feeling I get when I sit with someone, which sounds so strange, but like I think obviously important that they're a good actor, but like we all know the best actors don't always book the jobs, and like so it's also sitting down with somebody and being like, oh, I could put you in any room and people will be engaged by you. And that's really important too. They have to have this sort of like it's an essence or like a spark that someone has where you're like, okay, I see why people would want to watch you or want to see more of you. So that's really what I look for. And like, I don't care if people have worked or not worked, or as long as they're willing to like take training seriously and I see something in them, like that's really what I go for.
That's great. And what is like in terms of a communication? Because I feel like, I talked to a lot of actors over the years, and sometimes they're both reps, agents and managers. They just are sort of there when the opportunity arises of like here's the audition, here's that. Like, what does that communication style look like to you?
I mean, it is. I kind of let the client drive it. Of like, and I've had clients who text me or like message me every day, or we have on the phone at least 2 or 3 times a week or whatever. And then I've had clients that are like, I don't need to talk to you unless something's going on. I'm like, okay, that's great. But I think now like it's kind of across all communication devices. So like
Yeah.
I'll get I hate it. I discourage people from it, but I'll get somebody like asking me about a casting over like DM on Instagram. I'm like, no, no, no. Email me or text me.
That
Don't
stuff is
forward
so hard
me
to
an Instagram
track.
post.
Yeah, it's like which device should I be looking at in this moment?
Well, it's even hard now. Like we were out of the office so long, everybody was just calling my cell phone. Now that we're back in the office and I have somebody to like track my calls again, I'm bad when people call my cell phone now because it's like I forget to return their calls when I get busy. And so I'm like trying to get people to call the office more and more often as well. But it's all forms of communication at this point, like Snapchat, whatever, like they contact you through whatever. And that's fine. Like the only thing I really hate is when an actor looking for representation tries to reach out to me on Instagram.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, just email me. Like,
Yeah.
I'm never gonna respond to a DM from somebody I don't know.
Yeah.
If people will like do like a whole pitch and comment on your photos, and I'm like, I'm a little weirded out by this.
Yeah. What do you like? Because I get this question all the time over here that I can't answer. Because I feel like Brits are sold this like bill of goods that LA is the promised land, even though I think clearly the industry's shifting over here more, and I talk about all that time. But so I'm not like usually when actors come to me, they're like, do you know anybody in LA? Like, I need to get somebody in LA, all this. And I'm just like, you don't need anyone in LA. Like, stop. What's that like? Like, what advice do you give as a manager? Because it's like they are sold it over here so hard that they need somebody in LA. How do you feel about that?
I think they're sold it in that way because our pay scale is life changing. We all know that like in the UK, the pay scale is not life changing. That's why a lot of productions are moving there because they can pay less. So I think that was and still is the thing at sometimes of like, if you're a series regular on a US show, you're making like 10 times what you would be if you're a series regular on a UK show. And that's that sort of series money will let you buy a house, let you start a family. Like, and so I think that's sort of why they see it as the promised land is like it's different. It's just and SAG has done such a great job of like protecting their actors, and there are other unions internationally that just don't have that leverage.
Yeah.
So they can't do anything for the actors. At the same time, so much great television is being made in the UK with primarily all UK talent. And you look at a show like House of the Dragon, which is just, or even back to Game of Thrones, like an actor could do 2 episodes on Game of Thrones, and next thing you know, they're starring in a movie because it just had all of our eyes on it. So, like, there are jobs in the UK that are prime sort of launching pads for a career, and that you're way better off on than starring in something. I'm not going to mention anything, but like a
Like Grey's
procedure or something
Anatomy.
in the US. No, I
Yeah.
mean Grey's Anatomy did a lot for a lot of people. Like,
Yeah.
but there are certain shows that air over here that are just, fodder for Midwest viewers. And I can say that because I'm from the Midwest. But I think they're starting to realize that now. But also, like, you grow up in the UK, it's like gray and raining 70% of the time. Like, of course you want to be in LA. Every client that comes over here is like, I want to move here. I'm like, you say that until you move here,
Yes.
and then you'll want to go home.
Just drive here for a week. You'll get it.
I have one British client who's never wanted to be in the US.
Great.
And I find it amazing because I remember them asking me early on, like, do I have to be here? And I'm like, no, like, be where you're happiest. And it's worked out really well. Like, they
Yeah, I have
consistently
a friend
work
over here
and
who's like very anti-LA. He's like, I only go if they force me.
yeah. I think anybody should be where they're happiest, especially now since it's all self-tape anyway. I'm like,
Yeah.
you want to go live in like Utah or Texas or wherever, like, go do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
But
come here for
so
like a couple weeks.
how are you feeling about the UK market? Because again, not to say I'm the end all be all, but I am. No. I feel like the UK is blowing up. So are you looking to sign more people over here rather than the States now, or internationally of some sort? Because I feel like there's a market to be had in that world. Maybe I'm crazy.
Well, I think the big thing in the UK and to keep a like long working relationship with agents in the UK, you have to really prove yourself as being able to be additive. So like it's one thing to be like, yeah, UK is doing great. I'm gonna sign a bunch of people and then I'm not gonna do anything for them here because
Yeah.
the US market's not doing well.
Yeah.
And I think that's like the big I even, take the stance a lot of times that like I'm not gonna commission little stuff in the UK unless I'm booking you here. Because I'm
Yeah.
just like you've already developed that. But I think the big thing in both markets is post-strike, there's this weird bottleneck of younger actors are still getting reads, but like late 20s on, it's a lot of offers going out and there's not as many auditions, and people are taking jobs that they normally wouldn't.
Mhm.
And then that becomes very limiting to because there's already a limited number of projects you can book somebody on to get them an O1 visa. So
Yeah.
that's the problem. And that's why I try to be smart about who I sign from the UK and like what is their actual marketability in the US and like are you going to be able to be additive and bring them over and not just sign them because US casting directors love reading Brits. Like I'm sure you guys remember
We
when there
do.
was like the huge Australian boom.
Yes.
Yes.
Like you couldn't go out during pilot season without running into 5 different gangs of Australian
Yep.
actors. And I think it's like we get excited about seeing something different and then eventually it falters.
Mhm.
So you still have to be really smart in your choices of who you want to represent and how much time you have to spend with each person.
Yeah, because I also feel like I'm constantly giving the advice here of like, it's so hard to get a visa in general, just like to prove to the US government why you belong. It's
But
not
it's
as
also like
much of a given as it was in like the heyday of pilot season.
no one's accepting the O1 anymore, the open O1 anymore.
Hmm.
Like it works for indie film and maybe some guest stars, but like otherwise studios want their own visa no matter what.
Yeah.
So, and it's gotten more expensive. It's about 7,200, I think, for the visa now. Yeah.
Plus the legal fees.
No, that's like all
Oh, it's all
inclusive.
in.
And it's, with from the UK, it's usually about a 5 to 6 week process of getting the visa, and that's with no guarantee that you're actually going to get it. So a lot of places don't want to risk hiring someone
Yeah.
and not having a visa come through.
I
Have
know
you
we were
had it
ta- oh.
opposite where any of your US actors are wanting to come here? Because I've been getting a lot of calls lately from LA and New York people I know who are like, how did you do this and how can I get on this train?
I have a lot of clients that like would love to go do something theater specifically in London. And I'm like, it doesn't make sense unless you're there. Like you have to be living there and building a community and getting like unless you're a name that they're just gonna hire, you really have to go and spend time with those casting directors and proving yourself to them. I think the UK still has a mentality of being classically trained and being a stage actor first and foremost, and then film and TV. And that's changing a little bit. There's a lot of casting directors that are doing more street casting and finding talent that didn't go through the drama school system. But more so than the US, they really rely on the drama school program.
Yeah. But I also think that's why that sort of sets the international actors apart when they come to the US is because one, they're formally trained, and two, they've gone and lived life and had experience and, something to draw from, versus I think there used to be an era in this industry where it's like, if you weren't exclusively an actor 110% of the time, you're not a serious actor. But now, as an actor, you have to be a multi-hyphenate in order to, one, sort of survive, and also just to have like interesting qualities to you of like, I've actually experienced life.
And I think that there's also, and I was talking about this with a client last night, British drama school is straight up acting all the time.
Yeah.
Where like American drama programs are still college with your major being in acting. So like you're not full time, at least maybe you are, and I'm not understanding, but like you're not full time acting all the time. You're learning your core curriculum and then doing the acting classes as your major,
Yeah.
right? So like it's not this like immersive 3 years in a drama program.
I've never thought of that actually. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Learn something
like-
new every day. I mean, I
I
knew it, but
also-
I guess I never even like thought through that. I was like, oh, that does make a lot more sense.
A lot of my clients have come from athletic backgrounds versus drama backgrounds. And they did train like eventually going to classes or whatever. They didn't go to like a formal drama school.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting. A lot of actors, especially male actors, come from these athletic backgrounds where their mindset is so disciplined, they
Yeah.
become great actors because it's like, I'm going to work at this until I'm good at it. And I think you also then get these American actors who are like, I was prom king, so I moved to California to be an actor because it's easy. And you're like, no, that's not it.
Yeah.
Those are my least favorite people in the world.
It's like, I mean, they're all over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I always love when you look at their resume and they have like, some musical that we all know, like Cats or something like that. And I was like, oh, where did you do it? And it's like, oh, my high school play.
I would
Maybe
love to
not
see a high
put
school
that-
production of Cats. Like just half done costumes.
Yeah. Little ears like the headband.
Yeah.
Spirit of Halloween-esque cat costumes.
Yeah. That's amazing. So are you, I know that so many managers also produce. Is that something that you're doing as well, or
Yeah.
what's your?
I only want to produce with clients.
Mhm.
So I have a couple projects that clients are attached to that we're putting together currently. We also, I was working with a client last year, or I got last year, it was 3 years ago before the pandemic, and we had sold the series. And we just found out it wasn't going because of all the delays, which is,
Oh,
I'm like, I
that's
kind of hate TV now because it's not in a cycle anymore where you like
Yeah.
submit the project and you get an answer and know if it's going. Now everybody's in sort of long-term development of like, we like the show idea, we keep rolling it over. But this one was just like, I still think one of the best pilots I've ever read, and a reboot of like a classic series, and I was shocked it didn't go. But
wow. Was it at like a
you-
cable or streamer or network? What was it?
well, the crazy thing, before we had a pilot, we had 7 offers from streamers, from traditional. The studio went with a traditional network
Uh-huh.
because it was like a really high licensing fee for them.
Mm.
Whereas at the time we could have gone with a streamer who had a guarantee series, but and I also agreed with their logic of like the home would be better for traditional cable because it's like, I don't know, it's just that type of show.
Mm.
And then when the network passed on it, we took it back to the people who were interested before, and their needs changed over time.
Mhm.
So it was also like a little controversial. So I feel like whoever took it on was going to have to tackle that. And I think in an election year, people are very aware of like what they're putting out.
Yeah.
I've even heard some like film dating is going to be based on how close to the election they want to come out, if people are going to be like in the mood to go to the movies or not.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Interesting.
So yeah, it'll be interesting this year.
Do you
Hmm.
think that just because I've heard from a number of friends who are, they work at small production companies that are taking stuff out and trying to get it sold, because right now it feels like nobody's buying anything or very limited amounts of it. Do we think that is specifically because of the negotiations or sort of the ripple effect of the last round, like because of the strike or combination of all the things? What do we think?
I actually think we've seen a lot of independent film come back post
Yeah.
sort of once the pandemic protocols ended and people were like, oh, I don't have to budget for that anymore. I feel like we saw indie film come back. And I think there was a
Yeah.
lot of indie development during the strike. Although a lot of those strike movies you're like reading them like, how is this getting made right now? Like, I don't know why I expected everything to come out that was going to be like Oscar nominated, and it was not. But I think now we're seeing more investment in indie film
Mm.
and less like fewer studio films being made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But TV wise,
Um,
what do we think what do we think that future might look like?
did you read the article on Deadline last week about the Duplass brothers indie pilot and how it's like
No.
they feel like it's going to be a game changer? It was a really fascinating article. I would suggest anyone reads it. But I also think in that rare instance, you're dealing with the Duplasses who are
Yeah.
kings of that
Yeah.
space and like have a track record of success. Any indie pilot I've ever seen come together has not sold. Like at the end of the day, and
Yeah.
with no matter how good the cast was, or I think it'd be interesting if somebody finally figures out that formula
Mhm.
to like change the sort of studio cycle. But it's also the streamers are everything's becoming more vertically integrated. So like every streamer has a studio, they're buying less and less from outside studios and just keeping everything internal. And I don't think that's going to change.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm curious because like I just got I had a call earlier today with a producer about a film and she's like, I want to bring it to the UK because I can't get talent attached here because she's like, we have half our financing, but the other half is cast contingent. And Jess and I have talked about this before, but it's like, it's one of those like, it's the double-edged sword because in the indie space right now, almost every indie film is based on who you cast. But now, especially the big agencies and stuff, their first question is it finance? And even if you say it's half finance, and if we get your client, if she says yes, it'll be fully funded, they still won't send it to their client. So like advice, thoughts on that? I feel like it's this like rock and hard place where we're constantly like, well, we're there. And I'm just not, I don't want to lie to people and say, yeah, we're fully financed. And then it's not really fully financed because then that's our reputation. And I've had producers ask me to do that. And I'm like, ooh, that's walking a line there for me that I'm not comfortable with. But it's, it's so hard right now because I can see where you're saying like indie film is probably coming back, but it's also like at least everything I meet on or I'm involved with, it's all we need to get somebody who's going to get XYZ amount of money to finish our financing.
And I think I saw an indie film the other day that was a $60 million budget. You're like, what? Like, it's not
16?
indie film. 60.
60.
Oh, 60?
60.
Holy cow, are they Kevin
And
Costner? My God.
I think the financing thing is interesting because there are not that many actors who mean something financially.
Mhm.
And I think we're moving more and more into the space of like, do movie stars exist anymore? Because from what I've seen is as long as the movie's good, people are going to go see it, whether it's a new cast, an old, like there's not a ton of names that drive people into theaters anymore. And I even agree the same on streaming. Like there are so many streaming options that unless you really hear good word of mouth or something, you're not going to go seek it out.
Yeah.
And that's why financing has always been interesting to me. I'm like, I feel like if you believe in the script, you find the cast, like you put it together and you finance it in that way. But it is totally dependent on a lot of times actors that are like, especially international financing, where they're almost like 10 years behind us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, this person that like wouldn't be the lead of a movie in our industry anymore will get this whole budget financed in the UK. Like, and it's just a weird place because it's not necessarily the best talent. You're not making the best movie. You're just trying to get the movie made. I don't really see
Yeah.
the value in that.
I agree. I don't understand it because it's like if it's the wrong person, like if you're doing sort of square peg in a round hole situation just because they'll get your financing, at the end of the day, the movie's not going to be great and it's not going to do what you needed to do anyways. And we just saw 3 weeks ago, that movie, The Fall Guy, came out with Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt, and it did not do well. And I'm sure it was a massive budget. And now 2 weeks later, it's going to come out on streaming versus Apes, which, I think we're in a space where it's like either we're going to do IP or we're going to do name. We don't need to do both,
I don't have anyone in the movie, so like this is free press for The Fall Guy is one of the most enjoyable movies I've seen this year. Like,
That's what I said too.
I don't understand why people aren't going to see it. Ryan Gosling, like every guy wishes he were him. Every girl would love to be married to him. Emily Blunt, they gave two of the best performances of last year, and they're starring in a movie together, and people aren't going to see it. Is mind blowing.
Crazy. Yeah. I don't know if people are just like stressed out by the world because I don't know. I mean,
No,
if
I think
Apes
it's
does
because
well,
streaming's so easy. Honestly, I think I do it all the time personally, where I'm like, I
Just
could go
wait.
and see this movie, but I'm like, I'll just wait. It's gonna come out. Like, it's just easier for me to watch it at my house.
But that
So
movie's
unless there's
made for a
something with
theater
like,
though. Like
but the
with
thing is
Fall
like,
Guy is made for a theater.
yeah.
yeah, but I saw Oppenheimer purely because all I heard for like months was you got to experience the bomb going off in a
So good.
theater. And it was really cool. I mean, and so that was the only movie I think I saw in theaters last year was Oppenheimer, just because everybody wouldn't shut up about the bomb going off. And I do love Cillian Murphy, but
That entire movie was excellent. Emily Blunt stole the movie in that one scene where they're like in the
Trailer or no?
they're in like the office being interrogated, and she has to do her interview
Mhm.
with
Oh, that we're talking
the
about Oppenheimer
lawyers.
again. Sorry.
Yeah, Oppenheimer, so good. But
Yeah.
I think, and this happens with me because sometimes I fall behind in if I don't see like a movie or two movies a weekend, then you're like, when am I going to find the time to see this if I missed it opening weekend?
Mhm.
And I get backed up, and then I'm like, oh, I have to watch it at home. But there are just certain movies, and I think if more people made movies that you have to see in a movie theater, like Dune 2,
Yeah.
you had to see that in a movie theater. You can't watch that at home.
I
And
haven't
like
seen
that's what's going to
either.
keep people going. Yeah, I should have known.
I saw the first one, and that was like still during all the COVID protocols because I went to a screening at Warner Brothers, and I saw it, which was really cool. But I just haven't made it to the theater lately.
I know. AMC stubs, best thing you can do.
But I still have to go
I'm
there.
giving so much free promo. I'm like Casamigos, AMC stubs. No, but like $24 a month, and you can see 3 movies a week.
I know, but then I
Wow.
still have to have the motivation to go see. It's like going to the gym, right? You still have to get to the gym.
There's nothing better than getting up early on a weekend morning or a day when you don't have anything to do and going to the theater early and just doing back-to-back movies.
Oh, I love that. I think Brett Goldstein said that on his podcast that he loves to just go and like do like 3 movies in a day by himself. And that's how he gets all his watching in.
In Century City, best place because you can like leave the movie, go get some lunch.
Yeah.
They have the best food court.
Do a little shop.
Yeah. And then
They
you can go
actually
back in for
have
another movie.
AMC what is it, like the food court in Woodland Hills, because I'm in the valley, but it's not that far from me, but it is the Topanga Social. They literally created a food court of basically all of like LA's finest dining experiences without it being bougie. It's really nice.
I'll have to come check that out.
Yeah.
Next time I'm over in Woodland Hills.
It's like you're to venture into the valley.
Yeah.
I have a
Come on
childhood
over.
friend, my sister's best friend from growing up, who we were always very close, and I'm really good friends with her husband's sister. Live in Woodland Hills. I haven't seen them since they moved to LA. Like we always try and make a plan, it just never happens.
That's
Yeah.
so funny. Meet at the Topanga Social. It'll be great. You'll
Yeah,
have
I'm gonna suggest it now.
there's a margarita garden. You'll really enjoy it.
I mean, to be fair, Brendan, you are one of the best cooks I know. So I wanted to ask about that before we run out of time, because
Yeah.
I want to know where you got all your cooking skills from. Because you used to have watch parties that you
Because Jen
kindly
wants
let
to
me.
learn.
No,
Fred
I don't
wants to
want
learn to
to,
cook.
but it literally was, he would make all this massive food for like a lot of people and it was like so good. So how did that,
This
because
is
I was kind of hoping you were going to say I went to school to be a chef or something and you didn't. So
no, I completely self-taught.
Wow.
Like I my mom won't listen to this. She doesn't know how to work podcasts. My mom wasn't the best chef. And my parents think that like any seasoning is horrible. They think garlic is spicy, like, and again, I grew up in the Midwest, like small town, didn't have a lot of option. I didn't have sushi till I was 25, like didn't even have a passport till I was 27.
wow.
And in college, I kind of realized, especially in college, because everybody's standards are so low, like you couldn't really impress people through cooking. And so we would have these Sunday night, much like our viewing parties, we'd do these Sunday nights in college. We were also like one of the only houses that had HBO in college.
Mm.
And I'd make dinner and everybody would come over and we watch The Sopranos or Entourage, like whatever was on. And through that, I just started like learning more and more and more. And came from reading like a lot of cookbooks, watching a lot of Top Chef, learning different techniques. I've taken like one sort of knife skills class, but I'm horrible with knives. I think as I ended up in the emergency room during the pandemic, cutting a sandwich. So, uh, but it's just it was always about sort of getting everyone together and like you said with the viewing parties, like there's a group of people I watched Game of Thrones with from season one until the final season,
Yeah.
and we missed some here and there, but like that's what bonded us. That's what how you and I got to know each other so well.
Yeah.
Was
It
you
was one of
arguing
my
with me?
favorite memories of those, like my last few years in LA, whatever, those, I love those parties.
Yeah, it's trial and error, and you don't get to see like how much stuff gets thrown out if I taste it and it's bad, and I'm like George's dad on Seinfeld, and I'm like, no, you're not eating this.
It's
But
funny.
it's yeah, completely self-taught. I didn't go to culinary school. I
That's
did
amazing.
audition for MasterChef once. Yeah.
Do
And
it again.
did
I
you get
got
like
to like
through
a
a round or something or?
yeah, I got to like an interview process, and then I was never again, I like to be behind the camera. I don't think people's rep should be in front of the camera a lot. And so I was never the plan was never to actually go on MasterChef. I just want to see like what my food would get rated in that setting. And I
Yeah.
did well. I made a lobster mac and cheese
Ooh,
Mm.
and it was pretty good.
that's awesome.
But
I don't have the skill of cooking, but I do love to bake. And
okay.
that is I'm the same. I was self-taught. I actually bought one of the years I did a Black Friday sale and I bought myself a standing mixer and it was
Best
significantly
gadget.
cheaper than what the normal price was, but it was still, I think, $250. And at the time, like, I mean, it's still a lot, but that was a lot. And so I said, well, I got to learn stuff so I can use this and make it worth it. And then I started baking and it became my therapy. And so like now for me, anytime I've had it once in the last 4 years, but before when we were in offices, that was literally how I won everybody over, is I would always bake for them. And my showrunners loved me and hated me a little bit for it. But and my director on this last project, he's a total child in the way that he's like got a crazy sweet tooth. And I brought cupcakes and I've never seen a person's eyes get so big.
That's a baking is a skill I do not have. It's too precise, like it's like chemistry.
Yeah. Well, that's
I
why I can
failed.
do it, because it requires no imagination.
So I think it's I'm really good at like fixing things in the
Yeah.
moment. So I'm like, oh, this is what you need to add to this to make it taste better.
Yeah.
Baking, I'm like, you put it in, it comes out, and you're like, shit, I put a tablespoon of salt instead of a teaspoon of salt. Like,
But it's because I do cakes and cupcakes and stuff. And for me, it is a little bit of an assembly process as well. And so because I have a tradition with my nephews, every year they tell me what theme they want for their birthday cakes. And then I go crazy. And so there has been so many instances where at midnight the night before, shit just goes all sorts of wrong and I dump the whole cake and I feel and then I'm up until, 3 in the morning or whatever, trying to make a new cake.
I would love to see some of your cakes. If you're like
I'm sorry.
because I find people who can decorate cakes,
Yeah.
it's such a unique and precise skill.
Jess is
I
really
Very impressed
good.
by
She's
I
she's
don't
gonna downplay it. She's gonna downplay it, but I've seen pictures and she like you I'm in awe of both of you because I can't do either skill. I I belong on Nailed It if you guys have ever seen it.
I want to go
Oh,
on
we could
Nailed
arrange that,
It.
Jen.
That's my skill set right there in both cooking and baking. My
We
family
could
doesn't let me
do
cook for them anymore.
we could do the duo competition and us together, one knowing and one unknowing. I think we will at least get midway through.
Yeah.
I think Jen, you should go to like the Eataly in UK and take a pasta making
Yes.
class. Pasta is the
Oh,
easiest thing to make that impresses people. But like fresh pasta, especially also as a baker, it's really easy to make because it's precision.
oh, yeah.
It's about getting the measurements
Interesting.
right and like but it's the easiest thing to make.
Yeah. Okay. I
Time
might do
consuming but
that.
easy.
Yeah. Because
Mm.
I just really recently found out there was an Italy here in on Liverpool Street. So I was like,
It's
what is
massive.
this is yeah, I'm very excited about it.
It's way
I'll
bigger
have
than the one in LA.
really. Oh,
But
I'm
also,
excited.
have you met the Sears yet in the UK? George or Ruby?
This- No.
So George is one of my best friends. Ruby is now a client, but like has been like my little sister. Their mom is
Yeah.
the most amazing baker. If you love baking,
Oh.
you should check out her book.
He was on Love
Books.
Victor,
She has
right?
multiple. Yeah, he was on Love
Yeah.
Victor.
Yeah.
But Juliet Sear, every time I go to the UK, they're like my British family.
Oh,
Like
Aw,
have to see them. She always makes us goodies.
I love
She
that.
I might be wrong on this, so I might have to bleep it out later. But I'm pretty sure she did a lot of the set decoration for Bake Off.
Oh wow. I
Like she
did
did the
do,
baking
guys,
promo.
you'll be impressed by this. There is a actual, you should do this when you're here, Jess. There's an actual bake-off thing in East London, like an experience where you get to go and work in the tent and you compete against other teams. And so my
Oh.
friend got it for her birthday in December, and she's like, it was quite funny. She invited somebody else and then they dropped out at the last minute. She's like, Jen, are you free tonight? I was like, yeah, but just so you're aware, we're not winning if I'm on your team.
We're doing it next
And
time I'm there.
yes, it's so fun. And you go and you get like, they give you all the ingredients. And actually, I will say, with her help, because I almost messed up a few times, I think we got second or third in the end. But
Oh, that's not bad.
yeah, but I didn't do any of the actual baking. I did more of the fondant making characters.
Is
That's a
that with
skill though.
stamps
That's what I'm
or
talking about.
molding?
No, just molding out of like
that's-
freehanding it.
That is
I
impressive. I
can't.
can't do that.
Yeah. But we should do it next time you're in London.
Jen, when you come over for like Oscars, what would you make?
What do you mean?
She brings a
'Cause it was
bottle of
like
wine.
potluck. Yeah, that's probably
I honestly did. I think every time I came, I just brought wine. My
We
go-to.
used to have like the most intense Oscar party where I would make a dish for every Best Picture nominee, which was like totally feasible until they changed it to 10 nominees.
Yeah.
And you're
I'm
exhausted.
trying
People
to
were, like,
remember. I
struggling.
think I only went to one of your Oscar parties.
I just remember we would argue all the time about
Yes.
who should win and who shouldn't.
We have very
And I was
different
like, does
tastes.
Jen like me? Because all she does is come over and yell at me.
I know. Well, to be yeah, it was we had some well, there was alcohol involved too, let's be real.
It was also like never, it was banter. It was just a little
Yes.
banter.
Yes. But I do remember because there was an actor because you so kindly put up a lot of actors who come and stay in LA and stuff.
It's
And
like
I remember somebody, what?
I forgot the word, a hostel basically for
Yeah.
Canadian UK youth.
Yes. And someone was staying with you, and I was sitting next to him on your couch, and he was like, do you guys like each other? I was like, no, we do this every week. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. But
That's actually, I have a client who I love, who I've represented for a very long time, and he was on a movie, and him and I were arguing about something on the phone, and his co-star was next to him, and he was like, "You guys argued back and forth. You like both made your points, and then you ended the call with like, 'Love you, brother.'" And he literally looked at him and was like, I don't have that with my manager. Then proceeded to let go of his manager and try and get me to represent him.
Oh no.
Eventually I did. Like, he's also wonderful. But it was just such a weird thing of like, you heard me arguing with someone and you're like, that's my ideal representation.
Yes. Well, to be fair, you are probably 90% the reason I live in London. So,
London is wonderful.
yes.
You chased her out of the US? Is that what happened?
Yeah, he's like,
He
I
was
can't
like,
take this
can't
girl
argue with
anymore.
Brandon anymore. No, I mean, London is great and it's such a pool of talent. And a lot of the agents I work with, I'd say a lot of the agents I work with in general are like my close friends because you just want to enjoy the people you work with.
Yeah.
But in London, it's like we call each other to check up. We like visit each other's houses. We know each other's like spouses and girlfriends and whatever. Like, and it's not just a business transaction. Like, you have real relationships with these people because you want to trust them and they want to trust you, which is a little bit different than our industry because it's just so transactional most of the time. But
Mhm.
once you find people that you really trust, you're like locked in.
Yeah.
I find that as well on my side because pretty much everyone you knew in London, you let me meet and become friends with. And so now, like most
That
of
sounds
them,
like I can get you all generals in London.
Again, that's why I'm here. If it wasn't for that
With an
first trip where
American
you set me
casting
up with
director.
everybody.
No, everybody's great. It really takes time to build relationships with them. Like, they get offended by the call of like, let's just talk about so and so. Or I've had people be like, I could tell the agent was just going through my IMDb and asking me who had representation. And that's like not how you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not how you should represent anyone, no matter where you're at. But like, I don't know. I value a lot of my British relationships just so, and Canadian as well. I don't know, like, one of my most important relationships, Canadian agent. Don't want her to hear this and be like, fuck you. But there is a real trust there. And like, I'm giving you something I've been working on for years
Yeah.
and I'm trusting you to handle it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All righty. Well, we've kept you long
Didn't talk
enough,
it too long.
but we have very, very important question to ask.
Yes.
If the world was ending tomorrow and you had a drink or cocktail to cheers the end of the world to, what would it be?
So anyone anyone who knows me knows that I spend a lot of time at Laurel Hardware.
Yes.
And
Well, to be
they
fair, you
make
live
a-
around the corner.
I do live around the corner, but like, I'm there way too often. I have a very specific Manhattan they make me, which is a rye, usually Angel's Envy or Michter's. One large ice cube, sort of dry Manhattan, and that would be my favorite. It's my favorite drink. They go down too easy at this point in my life, so I'm like not drinking them anymore, unless I'm like I only have time for one. But I think that would be my last cocktail.
Nice.
What
Last
about you
hurrah.
guys?
I am a dirty Grey Goose martini gal.
Okay.
Yeah,
Where do you
Effective.
think the best martini in LA? Where is it?
Oh, I don't go out anywhere. My home.
All right, we're gonna go have a martini sometime. Next time you're in the city, you have
I mean,
meetings or whatever.
I can go to
We're
the
going to
city.
get
It's-
martinis.
I love how you like act like this is like she lives like way outside of
I can come to the
I'm not
city.
saying
It's
that. I'm
fine.
just saying that like when you're here for something else, it doesn't have to be like solo, like we're going to get a martini. It's just like when you're here, let's go get a martini.
Okay.
I don't
Actually,
want to
next time she
inconvenience you.
comes to London, I want her to take her to Duke's. That is James Beresford's major martini place that he goes.
Oh, James.
Literally
We have
every
to
time
shout
he
out
posts on
James.
Instagram.
We have to shout out James because he'd be offended if we didn't.
I know. I know. Gotta love him.
Yeah.
You need to take her to Gordon's.
Oh, yes. I do love that
You mean I
place.
was there and you didn't take me to either of these places? How
Well, we
rude.
were a bit busy,
We were very busy.
but next time you're going to come this summer. I know it. I
This
believe.
summer.
Yes, I believe you're coming. I'm
Okay.
going to manifest it.
Let's make it happen.
Yes. Brandon, thank you so much for joining us
No,
today.
thank you
It's
guys.
such a
This was
pleasure.
wonderful.
Yeah.
We didn't even argue the whole time.
I know. I'm really
You
impressed, guys. We're
disagreed with
getting
me
better.
once.
I think it's because you have a
Thank you, guys.
mediator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're on different sides of the world.
Yeah.
No, this was really fun.
Well,
Thank
awesome.
you.
All right,
Now I get
guys.
to
Well,
go
have
back
a
to
good
work.
rest of your day.
Cheers.
And we're
You as well.
cheers.
Have a good
Cheers to the
evening.
internet.
Cheers.
If you love listening as much as we love sharing, click subscribe on our YouTube channel or find us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Thanks for listening.